Good morning. It's so nice to see you all, and I really enjoyed the pleasure of having you with us last night. We had a lot of people last night. I'm glad they came in before the rain, because it was a beautiful day, and we had a great time together. And that's what we wanted you to do, is to get together and share your ideas. I would now like to introduce to you, and where are you? Ken McKay. As the governor told you, Ken McKay managed his campaign, his winning campaign in 2002. Ken is from Rhode Island. And it was a winning campaign at a time when Rhode Island was the most Democratic-leaning state, of which I can hardly believe after being in Massachusetts. However, Ken's main function is to run the Republican National Committee. Excuse me. He is the chief of staff. He manages over 200 members of the staff, which increases in an election year. We're very fussy about our budget, which he controls, which is now $68 million, which will go up as we get into the campaign years. And we're doing very well in fundraising. I mentioned it last night. For those of you who weren't here, we're raising millions of dollars every month. I think it was $8 to $9 million in August. And with it 9,031 donors a day, which sounds impossible to me, but it happened. And then we asked everybody last night, what do you think the average donation was? $41. You were there last night. Now, if you stop and think about that $41, what does it mean? We're reaching out to everybody, not rich people. We are not the party of the rich. We are the party of common sense. I want to thank you, Governor Cascieri, because you're plain speaking, and you made everybody here understand what it is that's happening. And you put it very clearly in what it is we have to do. I know you're waiting anxiously. Come on up here again. He also manages all of our chairman, Michael Steele's. He's a political advisor, and when I really want something, I call him up and say, it's Jody, and I need you.
Thank you. It's really an honor to be here, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm from Rhode Island, and you know, I guess I never, just a Rhode Island guy, kind of kicked around here. My family owns a business. I deliver a lot of furniture. Somehow I you know, through circumstances and luck. And God, I ended up with an opportunity like this that has been so incredible, and I enjoy. So every day I remind myself not to be a clock watcher. You know, I'm only a 10. There'll be another person running the show soon enough, and you know, then it'll be Ken who, and I'll be back home with my wife and kids, hopefully enjoying, you know, some time. But I did want to just, I have a. It's so easy to follow Governor Cascieri, you know, he's so dry, and you don't enjoy the speech very much, and then I get to come up here and clean up with 60 slides of data for you. So I hope you have coffee. Keep those doors shut, please, in the back. I don't want anybody running out of here. I'll take a couple of minutes to say a couple of words about Governor Cascieri while I have the chance, and then I'm going to run through some slides. It's a long presentation. I'm going to skip through a bunch of them just to hit a couple of highlights. And then I'll talk a little bit about the RNC and how it's made up and what we're doing right now, and then close with what's going on in some key elections. There are four elections right now that there are a number of them, but four that we're really focusing on. And of course, that's the governor's race in New Jersey, the governor's race in Virginia, a state Supreme Court race in Pennsylvania that will decide the balance of the court and have a significant impact in redistricting, and of course a new special election in New York 23 that is very important to us. So there are a number of things going on, kind of in addition to trying to set a national, you know, Republican message. We have those four elections, and it's only going to get busier. But To begin with, let me just say, I was, in my 30s practicing law here in Rhode Island, and I worked for a guy named Jim Taft, who some of you might know. He was the mayor of Cranston and had run for governor in the 70s. And he suggested, he knew Governor Kucheri when he was a candidate, and said, Ken, you might want to go meet this guy. It's good for your career, get involved in a campaign and do some work and get to know some folks and network, those kind of things. So I said, yeah, Mr. Taft, that'd be really nice. I'd love to meet Don. Set it up. And he, well, think about it, Ken. Think about it. These things have a funny way of kind of, of taking over. And I'm like, no, it'd be great. I'll meet him. And so Governor Kucheri and I went to the Kent restaurant in East Greenwich, and we had a BLT. And about 15 minutes later, I knew this is the guy who should be the governor of Rhode Island. There's no question in my mind. And we were 6 out of 6 in a ballot race. Nobody knew his name, and because he had spent his time with his family and his work. But I was convinced, and he was convinced, and we knew we were a couple of rookies, and so let's get in and mix it up with the big boys. And Mr. Taft was right. It has a way of kind of taking over. And sure enough, before long, I was full-time managing the campaign, and I watched the governor and his wife work without sleep, just tirelessly, sacrificing their personal, frankly, money, but most importantly, their time, and trying to do what they thought was right for the state, and he won. And we worked that first administration very hard to do what he believed was right, and he won re-election in 2006, which was the worst year for Republicans nationwide since Watergate. And in the most Democrat state, he won again. And he did that because he is a man of enormous integrity and energy and optimism. I learned so much from my time with Governor Kucheri and Sue Kucheri. I'll just set the stage for you to tell you what kind of person he is, and then I'll move on. This is a state where we are, significantly outnumbered in registration, Democrat to Republican, and significantly outnumbered in the legislature, Democrat to Republican. And so the community is kind of full of ties of people who know one another. And a lot of deals come across your desk, and a lot of favors that aren't in the taxpayer's best interest, frankly. And it's not easy for a man in a small state like this, and his wife, frankly, they belong to social clubs and those kind of things, and they see a lot of these people who are on the receiving end of, frankly, the patronage, the kind of largesse of patronage, I guess. And it wasn't easy to watch him say no to his friends, but he did it time and time again because it was the right thing to do. And the bravery that I witnessed, and the skill in handling it, and day in and day out, was just it was the best education that money can't buy. And I just want to, again, Governor Kucheri, thank you for the opportunity and to learn from you and to be around a real winner. Thank you very much. I'll run through a few of these vacation photos with you here. I'm lucky enough to be in this position with, just like, we have a really, really wonderful political party, the Republican Party. And it's not just because of what we believe in, it's because of the people who are involved. And just like Governor Kucheri and supporters of his, who kind of took a young guy, me frankly, under their wings and helped me through this thing, a number of people on the Republican National Committee have done the same. When you're new, old problems look new, and people with more experience can come to you and say, no, in fact, this happens all the time, and you should, here's what happens. And I want to thank those committee members like Carol Mumford and Jody and Ron Kaufman, who's really taken me under his wing, and Gentry Collins, our political director, and protected us, frankly, when we were making a simple mistake or preparing to handle something inappropriately that could be handled another way. And so the National Committee is a fantastic family of people